Today on the channel, we finish up WWE Superstars Series 15 with Nikolai Volkoff and Georgie Animal Steele.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another WWE Superstars Series 15 unboxing and review. And today on the channel, we got Nikolai Volkoff, we got Georgie Animal Steele. But for all your WWE Superstar needs, Walmart. But for everything else under the sun, make sure you hit up Ringside Collectibles. Use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 10%. Got to get a deal there. And hopefully sooner rather than later, we'll get these on Mattel Creations. Would make a lot of people happy, as we talk about in every single one of these Superstars reviews. Extremely hard to find figures. I was very fortunate on a business trip for my day job, and I was out traveling, went to a Walmart, just happened to look at the top stock, and there was the set just chilling up there. Got very, very lucky. Hopefully you get as fortunate as that in the future, but we'll see what happens. But of course, we're going to do this review like we do all the other reviews in the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there, and check out Stone Cold Steve Austin and the Ultimate Warrior. Already unboxed those ones on the channel, so give them a look. But let's start it off with old Nikolai. Will he give us the old Kick-A-Lie, one of the greatest finishing moves of all time? Love the Mattel Retro Nikolai Volkoff, the Nikolai Kick-A-Lie. Man, I still crack up to this day, obviously, about that here. But we get Nikolai Volkoff here. Going to be great to pair with the Iron Sheik, who we got in the last series. Check out that review as well. But very cool to get both of those guys. Now we just need a Slick or a Freddie Blassie to go along with them. But Nikolai looking only like he could look in the Superstars line, in the Superstars packaging. No USSR on the shirt. I understand, I guess, why they don't put that on there. It's just not PC these days, I guess. They don't want to ruffle any feathers. You know, that's the world we live in here. But it is Nikolai Volkoff with just a red sweatshirt. How about that? Looking good on the back. There's old Nikolai. Looks like he's ready to square off against Bruno in the 70s or something like that. Who knows what he's up to? And of course, Cross Sell down here, Jibber Jabber UPC. Cara Mia, oh, one of the greatest voices. Can you imagine if American Idol was around back in Nikolai's time? He would have been a champion, Todd McFarlane would have been a champion. It does say Nikolai, please rise and respect his singing of the national anthem. Always enjoyed Nikolai Volkoff. Now, my era, Nikolai was kind of a low-level talent, not a jobber by any means, but you never expected him to be an Intercontinental Champion, World Champion, or anything like that. By the time I started watching wrestling, he was already past his tag team title reign. But Nikolai was a guy I always respected. I loved it when he turned to America and joined up with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Never had an issue with Nikolai, of course. Never met him either, so maybe that's why. I don't know. See you later. Goodbye right there. Little plastic prison here. We got the little baggie. What is in this baggie? We're going to find out real quick right here. Oh, not the powder I was expecting. Got some hands. See you later. Goodbye. We got two splayed out Nikolai hands, and we got two fists of Nikolai Volkoff Fury. And I got to say, Nikolai, back when he feuded with Bruno for the championship, before he became, with Sheik and Blassie and Slick and that kind of stuff, man, oh man, he was a threat. He was a threat to Bruno. I saw some of those matches once upon a time. And I always liked Nikolai's physique. Yes, his physique. Big, powerful, strong man. Always a good wrestler, Nikolai, too. Very underrated, if you ask me. But shout out to Nikolai Volkoff here as we dive in. And Hall of Famer, of course, in the WWE, as he should be. And I believe, didn't he live in the Maryland area, which was always interesting. I don't know why I always felt as a kid. Well, he probably travels back and forth from Russia all the time. But I think he was living in Maryland, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out to Maryland, everywhere. There you go. Shout out to the band Clutch, too, while we're at it. See you later. Goodbye. And shout out to Cal Ripken and Billy Ripken and Sparky Anderson while we're at it, too. How about? Shout out to Maryland, of course. But shout out to Nikolai Volkoff. Let's dive into it. We do get that famous hat that I can never remember what it's called. But I wish I had one of these hats. I'd wear it around in the winter. The winters are cold here, Todd McFarlane. We always got to cuddle up on the couch with the heated blanket. It's so cold. But one of these hats would go real well. Nice black hat right there, looking good. And then you get Nikolai, a little younger Nikolai here. This is an old man Nikolai. Got the shaved head kind of going on there. 2 eyes, 2 ears, a nose, and a mouth. Got that goatee going on. really looks good. This is a good looking Nikolai Volkoff figure. And I don't think we've ever done a top 5 Nikolai Volkoff on the channel, man. It's time. We're overdue. It's time. And maybe we did do it. Who knows? I've done a lot of top 5, top 10s over the last 10 years. But I wouldn't be opposed to doing a Nikolai. I don't think anybody would watch it, Todd McFarlane. But, you know, making these videos for me, not making them for anybody else. We do know that as well. I like to have fun. But Nikolai looking good here. A very satiny shirt going on. Not the kind of fur sweater going on. Almost real fur sweater that I think he shaved off a bear back in Mother Russia, if I'm not mistaken. But it is a nice red sweatshirt, I guess we'll call it here. Velcro down the back, so it is removable. This could be a nice shirt you could use with other figures in the Mattel Elite line if you wanted to as well, just being plain red like it is here. Does have the 2 hitchhiker hands out of the package. He's ready to hitch a ride if he needs to. Got the red trunks with the little blue stripes on the side. Got the red knee pads. Got those maroon boots with the white laces. Got the socks back there as well, the striped socks. Looking good, looking like Where's Waldo a little bit down there as well. Of course, all the body parts are removable on these. We know how those do work with the Mattel style figures here. But a good looking Nikolai. We'll walk through the articulation with George Steele. How about? Gonna pop that head back, or that hat back on the head. But it looks good. It looks like Nikolai Volkoff. I don't know if he would set the world on fire, but it's good to have him to go with Iron Sheik. And he's another character that feels like he belongs in a Superstars line like this. And now we get Sheik and Volkoff together again, ready to take on all comers. Watch out, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. They're coming for you. Old Nikolai Volkoff looking good here in Superstars Series 15. But now we're going to turn our attention over to George, the Animal, the Steele. Another guy really feels like he belongs in this line as well. George Steele came with a shirt as well on this one, looking good. He's an animal lover, and aren't we all? Aren't we all? Of course. Blackie Wallace, also an animal lover as well, from Wasp fame, of course, Todd McFarlane. But looking good on the packaging, Superstar style. We get it. We know it. We love it. We want some more of it. We want it easier to find it, of course. On the back, cross-sell, jibber-jabber, UPC. Eating turnbuckles for lunch, the Animal. And then it does say mine, of course. All right. Pull George Steele out. See you later. Goodbye. Got another baggie of fun. What could it be? Probably the same hands. Get those scissors out here. Gonna cut these off. We're gonna pull all these hands out. Maybe, maybe not. Very tight baggies as well, I will say. Very tight baggies. There we go. Got the hands. Bam! See you later. Goodbye. 2 Fists of Fury, 2 splayed out hands. So we're seeing a theme in this series of Superstars with the same extra hands, of course. And of course, George Animal Steele, Plastic Prison, doing his thing. A little bit bigger body style on this one. Akin to a Big Boss Man or maybe a Bam Bam Bigelow that preceded him. But man, oh man, twist ties all over the place on this one. Not just for McFarlane Toys anymore, as we know. I'm going to pull George Steele out, get those twist ties so we don't get him in the carpet. Preferably not in the carpet. Up high. See you later. Goodbye. And we got George, the Animal Steele. How about that? And we're going to start with the head sculpt department. Got that beautiful tongue. Got the teal coloring to the tongue. So cool on this one. Looks just like George Steele. Just an amazing head sculpt on this one. This one really looks like George Steele. 2 eyes, 2 ears, a nose, and a mouth, and just a crazy demented look on his face there. Now, it has got the soft goods shirt. I'm an animal lover. Of course, a classic George Steele shirt. But how do you have a George Steele shirt on a George Steele? He's already comes with a shirt that he made himself. Man, oh man, look at all that hair. Truly an animal right here is what he is. And unfortunately, I hate to report it, but Mattel dropped the ball on this one, Tom McFarlane. Should have been real fur chest hair. Would have worked great on this Superstars line. Once again, not in the cards. A bunch of chickens over there at Mattel is what we got going on. Give us the real fur chest hair. We need it. We need it at least one time, is what it is, though. But it does look good. It looks nice. I mean, George Steele, a hairy individual, if there ever was one. And they captured that lightness very well here on this action figure. Got the black tights down here. Got the red racing stripe. Back in the 80s and even the 70s, too, it was all about that racing stripe. You know, you get the black and red. You get the red and blue over here. All about those racing stripes, apparently, and the red knee pads and the red boots. Looking good for George Steele. Now, his arms do go all the way around for us here. You do get the single-jointed elbow here, back and forth, side to side. Hands removable, back, forth, side to side. Head removable, back, forth, side to side. Waist articulation. Big old splits, not really, not really. Leg goes up, not really. Single-jointed knee, barely. Boot cut, ankles, back, forth, side to side, up and down. Usual Mattel Superstars articulation right here. A little bit limited, but George was also a little limited, as we do know as well. And then, of course, does he fit on a ringside collectible stand using discount code Kyle to save 10%? Yes, he does. Now, a big miss outside of the chest hair, outside of the real fur chest hair on this one. Another big miss is we didn't get the Mine figure. Of course, Mine came with the Elites, came with the Ultimates. Really should have came with this one along the way. I think they already have the mold. They could have put this same one with it. So I grabbed one off of my Elite that was handy over here. Would have been nice to have that. Of course, George Animal Steele, a huge fan of his stuffed animals and stuffed turnbuckles, as we do know. And Todd McFarlane, feel free to fact check this. I wouldn't do it because this is a 100% true story right here. A lot of people are Swifties out there. Now, I am by no means a Swiftie. I'm not a Taylor Swift guy, but my kids, my wife is a Taylor Swift fan. And I did hear, I believe my wife told me this, that Taylor Swift had a song called Mine, and she actually wrote that song about George Animal Steele's stuffed animal Mine. So I thought that was a really cool thing there. Fact check it. I wouldn't do it. Todd McFarlane is 100% true, especially if my wife said it. But this was named after Taylor Swift did name a song after Mine right here. Like I said, fact check it if you want to, but it'll check out. Trust me. Trust me. But George Steele, Nikolai Volkoff, two legends of the 70s that kind of became a little bit more comedic and a little bit of changes in the 80s in the twilight of their career. And it's interesting that most people remember these two from their time in the 80s, besides not memorizing or remembering their time in the 70s when they were a little bit different animals. No pun intended with George Steele there. So fun to have these two in the Superstars line. They make sense for the Superstars line. Love this line. Just wish it was easier to find. I think I'm preaching to the choir on that one there. But speaking of the choir, sing about what your thoughts on these two are in the comments down below. Let me know what you think on these two, and let me know how challenging they are to find. I hear that all the time as well. And of course, check out Patreon, YouTube channel memberships for even more content if that's your thing. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to my other YouTube channel. Sir Paul 64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and TheKylePetersonShow at gmail.com. Of course, my weekly podcast, The Kyle Peterson Show, available where podcasts are found, videocast on YouTube. So for George, the Animal, Steele, and Nikolai Volkoff, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.
Well, are we gonna dance or are we gonna play?